Welcome back, everyone, to the Ripeness Report. I'm Tom. I'm joined today by my wonderful co-host, Poppi.
This is going to be a great one, Tom. So glad all you listeners could join us today. We have a truly super topic on our hands for this episode. That's right, we're finally diving into the highly anticipated newest Superman film.
That's right, we're going to get into all the nitty-gritty, exploring what both everyday audiences and critics are saying about the Man of Steel's latest big-screen adventure. It's been quite the talk.
So, for those who haven't caught it yet, or maybe just want a quick refresher on the plot, the new Superman film really puts our hero in a tight spot, doesn't it?
Absolutely. He's pretty quickly drawn into major conflicts, both home and abroad, and this whole situation kind of plays right into the hands of known Superman nemesis, Lex Luthor.
Right. Luthor, always looking for an angle, sees this as his big chance to try and take the Man of Steel out of the picture for good. So the stakes are quite high.
And of course, it wouldn't be a Superman story without the ever-intrepid Lois Lane and his best friend, Krypto, the Superdog. They play a crucial role and must help him overcome Luthor's plans before it's too late.
And speaking of Krypto, that brings us perfectly to what the verified audiences are saying because, oh my goodness, Krypto is a star. Overall, the sentiment is overwhelmingly positive from the fans, who have lifted this film to a sizzling hot 96% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, interesting. Tell us more. What are they loving?
Well, for starters, there's a huge appreciation for how authentic it feels to the comic books. People are saying it's basically a live adaptation of the Superman comics, and crucially, the uplifting, hopeful tone really resonated. It's been described as refreshingly lighthearted and even a beacon of hope, which I gotta say, that sounds pretty good to me.
I agree. It sounds like a nice departure from the previous Superman film's more gritty tone.
It really is, and as I just hinted at, Krypto, Superman's dog, was universally beloved. I mean, multiple reviews mentioned he steals every scene and stole the show. So if you're going for Krypto, you're in for a dog, well, treat.
What's not to love about a super dog?
Totally. Now, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, mind you. There were a few consistent criticisms. Some found the tone a bit inconsistent, with one reviewer feeling it, quote, could not figure out what it wanted to be, part action film, part comedy, and felt it, well, failed on both parts.
I could see that.
Same. And then there was the script itself. A fair few found it too exposition heavy, even describing it as screamed tell, don't show, rather than show, don't tell kind of situation. Some viewers just felt the whole movie was a bit underwhelming.
Right, so that's the audience, and it sounds like they had some valid points, both good and bad. But now let's pivot to the critics, shall we?
Take it away.
Their sentiment of Superman is overall positive, rocking an 85% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, but not without several critiques.
So what did they like? Any common ground with the audience?
A little bit, actually. The critics really praised the film's optimistic message and themes. One even noted it's concerned with our society's struggle to accept the possibility of inherent goodness, which, hey, that's deep for a superhero flick, right?
For sure.
And the action sequences and visual effects received pretty glowing reviews. They were described as top-notch with stunning visuals. Plus, David Corenswet's performance as Superman was, for many, a big highlight. One critic went as far as to say he's certainly the best Superman since Christopher Reeve. Quite the compliment.
Wow, that's high praise indeed, especially with how popular Henry Cavill had been in the role as well.
Absolutely. And generally, several critics noted the film as highly entertaining and loads of fun. So there's definitely a positive core there.
But I'm sensing a but coming.
The but is that some critics found the film, with mild emphasis, way overstuffed and chaotic. They described it as over-designed, overwritten, over-digitized, over everything.
Sounds overwhelming.
I think you nailed it. And the narrative structure came in for some criticism too. One reviewer felt that much of Gunn's film feels like a sequel, like we needed something before this one to complete the whole picture. That's a curious one. It implies a lack of foundational setup.
That's interesting considering it's meant to be a fresh start.
Precisely. And tying into that, several critics felt the character development was lacking. They said Superman himself felt like someone the plot happens to, rather than him driving the story, which, for a titular character, is a big flaw.
So it sounds like the audience mostly focused on the overall feeling and the character performances, especially Crypto. Bless his heart. Meanwhile, the technical stuff like exposition and narrative structure wasn't as big of a sticking point for them. It sounds like the critics just wanted a bit more polish on the whole package.
Exactly right. They appreciated the intent and the core performances, but they felt the execution could have been, well, tighter, I suppose.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Superman 2025. It's certainly been a fascinating discussion with you, Tom.
It really has, Poppy, and a big thank you to all our listeners for tuning in, of course. We hope this has given you a good snapshot of what to expect.
Absolutely. Our main takeaway, I think, is that you simply have to go see it for yourselves and, form your own opinion. Don't just take our word for it or the critics or the audiences.
Precisely. And that's all for this episode of the Ripeness Report. Remember to keep it ripe, keep it real, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you then.